Welcome to Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. Thank you for tuning in. My special guest today is Jerry Faulkner. He runs for the New York Athletic Club. He is a remarkable young man, has many, many fans in the New York area. So I'm thrilled to learn more about Jerry.
Thank you, Will, for having me.
It's a pleasure. Jerry, preparing for today's show, I went to your Facebook and I went to Instagram. And Instagram is definitely the social media of your choice because of tons of beautiful photographs. And there's a little story behind each one of them. And I noticed that, I realized how blessed we are to have all these great photographers because you mentioned a few by name from Da. I don't know if you have any photos from Ben Coe. You have photos from Mo Snapper. Yes. So what do you say about all these great photographers that capture you in action shots next to Oz Perman?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, the great thing about living in New York, especially doing New York Roadrunner races, is you have the opportunity to meet different people, but also to meet different type of clubs that help you out. And the cool thing is the running community is actually pretty small. So when you have different clubs and people that are doing their art, their photography, it makes it way blessing to have that opportunity to get those photos of that race, especially each race is a special moment. Even if you've trained so hard, so like for example, they just got done with the New York City Marathon, everybody has been trained so hard for that race. And it's so blessing to have people that take their time without charging them, without taking a photo and everything, but also get that special moment and everything. So I really thank people for that. I really think that, people that are going out on their own time, going to sit in the cold weather, getting rained on, also taking pictures of other complete strangers that they really haven't met before. That's very important and everything. Yeah, it's really great. And I'm very blessed. That's the way big thing that's different between where I'm from. I'm from Oklahoma. So living in New York for 5 years, that's one thing is with New York. You have so many people that are very passionate about running and photography.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. They're paying it forward because, they're out there in all sorts of weather. Some of them are freelancing for New York Roadrunners. And I think New York Roadrunners recently put up photographs at no charge. They just put a nice little logo at the bottom designating what race it is, the Bronx 10K. But it doesn't have that big proof, across.
Right.
You can get those photos that way, the high quality.
New York Roadrunners is such a great running club. Also, it helps so many people. Also, they do a lot of volunteer work. A lot of people they don't see what they're doing behind the scenes. Only people think is like, oh, I get my bib number, I'm going into a letter category to do a race with so many other people. They don't see where that money goes to. So they help out kids that don't have the opportunity to go run. Also, they don't have the money. So New York Roadrunners does awesome on that. Such as me, for example, me living in Oklahoma, doing any race that's in the other state, usually you'll have a corporation that comes in, it's called Competitor or Marathon Photo, that will take photos of you during the race, and you'll have to pay for those and everything. But if you end up winning the race, and that's 1 out of 5,000 or it's 26, it counts on how many, you may only get that photo. And luckily it was made by the newspaper because they have to post a photo of the winner. Such as if you didn't win the race or if you weren't at that capability to be able to get a good photo, usually you would have to buy your photo, whatever accomplishment that you did.
Yes. Let's introduce you to our audience, Jerry. Tell us, you said you're from Oklahoma, so it sounds like you were born there. But tell us about your childhood. Was you athletically inclined as a kid?
Well, I've lived in Oklahoma for 30 years and everything. I've always been an athlete. I've loved sports. I feel like I was more athletic capable than academic, but I was very, very blessed to be able to partake. Another thing is when I went to school, I went to St. Gregory's University. I was a walk-on. I had no clue about running. I actually went there for school and everything. I played golf, had a 10 handicap, and then somehow with college, you always want to try new things. And so I wanted to try something new. Also, one of my best friends talked me into saying, hey, let's get up in the morning and let's run. And I'm like, man, I play golf,
So and you're getting up in the morning already.
And then we have 8 o'clock morning classes. And so I ended up walking on the cross-country team, surviving. It was such a tough thing to exchange my body to somebody to be more active. Also, I had to do more of my diet because, running is what you put in. So I ran for St. Gregory's for 4 years, was a walk-on, and then I fell in love with running. And I've ran 26 marathons, and I've won 3 out of them out of 26, and my best is 2:21. So, and then living in New York's been amazing. The city is great.
St. Gregory is in Oklahoma, I presume?
Yeah, it's in Oklahoma. It's in Shawnee, Oklahoma, yes.
Oh, okay. Say that again, Shawnee?
Shawnee.
Shawnee, I like that
Shawnee,
name.
Oklahoma, yes.
So you live now in New York, or you live in
I live in New
Oklahoma?
York.
You live in New York,
Yeah,
okay.
I live in Sunnyside,
Sunny's Queens.
King of Queens.
Oh, okay. Well, Queens Distance has their eye on you. But
Always.
actually, you're
Kevin's
a member
a
of
great guy.
New York Athletic Club, but
Yes.
we'll get there. Okay. So what did you study in college?
I studied sports marketing. So when I got out of school, I worked for Gatorade for 2 years, and then I managed a running shoe store for 9. And then after that, my wife got done with school, and I ended up moving to New York to work for Nike. And then now I work for Fitbit. So I do marketing and training for Fitbit.
Oh, so how did you meet your wife?
I was very, very lucky, man. So the story is I was coming back from a morning class, and this is my sophomore year. And my wife is from Tokyo, and she was from a foreign exchange program in England Institute. And so the cool thing was I was coming back, and I was kind of being like a little bit of a creeper. I was checking her out, and I thought she was majorly cute. And she ended up catching me checking her out. So I walked by, I said hello, and I was like, uh-oh, I'm red in the face. Walk by, say hello, and then I walk back, and I'm like, I gotta go back and ask her out on a date. So I go back, ask her out on a date. We dated for about 6 years, and we've been married for 10 years. So the thing is it's crazy. How long I've been running is mostly how long we've known each other.
Wow.
And
so
she's a
back in
very
St.
big
Gregory's.
supportive person, yes.
Wow, that's a great story, checking her out. Yeah, nowadays I could get you in a lot of trouble. So luckily, those were little gentler times.
Correct.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's a long-term marriage. It sounds like she's very supportive.
Yes, she's very supportive, but also I'm very supportive of her because I love New York and we wanted to both make a career out here.
Okay. What did you do at Nike?
So I worked at Nike being a sales associate. So I sold footwear because I came back from the running retail. That's my background, is running retail. So I knew how to fit people for running shoes, but also talk about running.
Oh, okay.
And then being a competitive runner, I was running 120 miles to 110 miles a week. And, running New York Roadrunner races and then just knowing people.
Well, the reason I mentioned Nike, because I used to run with the Nike Town Club, which on Fifth Avenue. And those are the days of Niles Garrison and
Yes, I love Niles.
Terrence Gertzberg.
Yeah.
Were they there when you were there?
They were leaving they were working at Running Company.
Okay.
They were at Running Company.
Yeah,
and when I
Niles-
just came in,
Okay.
and I started running for Urban Athletic and everything because I got recruited by Herbie. The guy
Herbie Medina.
Yeah, he's the godfather of New York Roadrunners. I would say if you want somebody that braces New York Roadrunners and the running culture, Herbie is the guy. I definitely look up to that guy. He's a fan of the sport. He's ran it since like the 70s and everything, and then he's just something has grown with the sport, and he always is love of the sport.
We introduced you as a member of the New York Athletic Club, which is, everybody's heard that name. It's been around forever and ever.
Yes.
I think John Henwood used to coach there, didn't he?
He used to run for them and everything. So I just picked him up officially as my coach and everything because he has such great talent, but also he had such a great career running for New York Athletic Club, but also New Zealand. He went to the Olympics for New Zealand.
That's right, for the
So
10K.
the guy definitely knows what he's talking about, but also I feel like he can help me with my future running.
Okay, so he's currently your coach?
He's currently my coach, yes.
Oh, excellent. But now he's the Henwood Hounds.
Yes.
But you're a member of New York Athletic Club.
Yes.
Great, great. Isn't that wonderful? You can, go to a Henwood Hound coach
Yeah.
and, not cause a problem.
Correct.
Great. So how did you discover the New York Athletic Club?
Is when I was living in Oklahoma, and Meb was running the New York City Marathon. And this is when he won the New York City Marathon. It was 2009 and everything. I ended up going there to run the U.S. Championships for the marathon. And I ran with Brian Self for the last 23 miles, and I walked the last, and I ran I think 235 or 239. Don't count me on it.
Okay.
But
But you had to walk the last 3?
I didn't know the course. That's the thing that's advantage about being a New Yorker. New York is a very tough marathon, but if you live in New York, you have a great advantage. If you're somebody that's coming from another state or another country, you've never ran the course, all they say is all you only have to do is worry about the bridges. No. It's totally wrong, because I would say the worst part of the New York City Marathon is mile 23.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a slow mile, but also it gets you right there before you get to the park. So that can really put a positive split mile onto your time. So that can really hurt your time.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Especially when you're out there in front. You don't have too many people you got to rely on the course marshals.
You do, but the thing is New York is such a great organized race, but also you have such great talent out there. So it's really helped. And the fans, New York, I would say for me, I'm not mean to be biased, but I feel like New York is one of the best marathons to do.
Oh, of course, everybody says that. It's the largest
Good,
one.
then that may
You
mean
know,
knowing something.
well, New York, Boston, of course, those are the two everybody wants to do.
When I ran 2016, it was just amazing. I knew I made it to New York after living here for 5 years, and I was in the elite field. I was on the Verrazano. The cool thing is, you just imagine, you're been a college walk-on from a small NAI school. Like your best time from being a freshman for 5 miles was 33 minutes. So that's about 7:30 pace. And then you wake up the next day, you're on the bus, you're on the line, you have Peter Chacha talking in your ear, and then the gun goes off. They start playing New York, New York. There's flares going off,
My
and you're
gosh.
running the New York City Marathon. Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
it's just an exciting thing, you know?
The gun went, actually, it's a cannon. It's a
Yeah.
big gun. Oh, wow. Peter Chacha, we should say, he's the president of the New
Yes,
York River. He
he's
has a
doing an
long
amazing
day.
job.
He does. He's there all day long, from the first runners to the last.
That's the way he should
he's
be.
there. He's there after dark. It's great. Tell us about the New York Athletic Club. What kind of club is it? What makes it special for you?
With me, I have a big goal for my life. I really want to get out of my running. Is I want to be able to get that Olympic qualifying trial time for the marathon. Yeah. So they used to have a B standard, but now they only have an A. They actually do have a B and A standard, but usually the A standard is like USATF pays for it, but it's 2:15 marathon. But usually if you can run a 2:15 marathon, you probably have a contract with a shoe deal. And then you have a B standard that's 2:18:59. You have to run 2:18:59. So reason why I picked New York Athletic Club is they have the talent, but also they have time standards you have to be. So for example, if you wanted to have opportunity to join New York Athletic Club, you have to have a President's Circle time to join, and that's a New York Roadrunners time, where they have times where you have to run to be able to get into New York Roadrunner races for free and to be able to get to the front. So if you see the guys that have the double A's on their bibs, those guys are the only people that have had the President's Circle time.
Oh, cool.
So that's the thing. If you look at the starting line, you see people that have a double A and then an A. That's the President's Circle time and all that stuff, and the time. So New York Athletic Club it's one of the oldest track and field clubs, I would say, like even from the 1800s and all that stuff. The thing is they have such a great tradition with Olympians and athletes and everything. So with me, reason why I moved more to New York Athletic Club is because they had more of the resources. Especially our facility is like on 7th Avenue and 59th, and the facility is open 24/7.
Wow.
So the park is right there. So there's no excuse of not missing a run and everything. So I'm always there running at weird times. Like I would be running at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then sometimes I'm running at 12 o'clock midnight in the park, just because, when you get in training mode and then you start working full time, you got to,
And it doesn't hurt to have this cool Mercury's foot, the wing foot, you call it. I called it Mercury's foot because the god of Mercury is represented by the wing foot.
Yeah. The thing is, if you come into our facility, like on the first floor, we'll have the god of Mercury. It's actually a statue of him with, he'll have like an olive branch for victory. And then he'll have I think it's like a sickle or something that's for knowledge. It's like knowledge in one foot, one hand in the other.
Yeah.
And then he has the wing foot on his feet and everything, and then the helmet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's on the first floor and everything. You guys can see it. I mean, there's a dress code to come in, but usually when you go in, you'll see that's our mascot and everything for the club. And then like our club is like one of those traditional track and field type of going back in time and all that stuff. So for example, when we had people that just first started up the club, they were trying to join more of an Ivy League club and all that stuff, but they decided to make their own track and field. They wanted to make a club from like Europe. A lot of European countries have these clubs. So they wanted to make a club in the United States. And so that's how the idea came evolved.
Preparing for this, for today, I noticed that very proudly that Charles Atlas, the original bodybuilder, was a member of the club.
There's been so much talent. I would say another great talent was Tom Fleming. Tom Fleming was a great runner, also a good person and everything. John Hinwood. John Hinwood's amazing talent and everything. I feel like anybody that steps into the wing foot and gets an opportunity.
Interesting. So Tom Fleming was a member?
Yes, Tom Fleming was a member.
We should mention Tom Fleming passed away recently.
Yes.
He was a winner of the New York City Marathon.
Twice,
right.
Imagine doing 4 laps in Central Park. That's tough. And the thing is like, you're going up Cat Hill, you're going up Harlem Hill, and then West Side Hills, the sisters. So
4 times.
it's a tough one,
Yeah, mentally, it got to be very tough.
especially footwear back then.
Oh,
Imagine footwear.
well, Gary Murphy didn't have his shop yet, the Super Runner shop.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
They didn't have that many water stations too, so they didn't have Gatorade back then. You took salt tablets too.
Well, let me mention again Charles Atlas. I don't know everybody, but I knew about Charles Atlas because I read comic books. And in the back, they would have the Charles Atlas story where he was this puny kid. People would kick sand at him at the beach.
Yeah.
And then he decided, he was going to muscle up. And he came up with his own method of bodybuilding. And he's considered the father of bodybuilding. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was going through your Instagrams. Photos, great photos. And I loved that there's verbiage about it. And in some of them, I noticed there was sometimes there was a theme here that sort of suggested that you've been bullied in your life because it says, haters are going to hate. And another one said something about, show what you're made of by kicking ass.
Yeah.
I mean, so those are some of the milder versions. So have you been a victim of harassment or hate?
I would say, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like what you do. Anything that you do in your life or career, you can't please everybody. I've really never been bullied, but I've always have had people that have showed resistance against me because they don't like how I look or how I think or how I run or just how, I carry myself. So you're always going to have that in life. Anybody, majority of people are going to have that. That's just called reality. You're going to have frictions with people.
Okay.
I wish I could like everybody. We would not have these issues or problems, but it's especially social media. The thing with social media is like you're sending an image of yourself out to everybody else, but they don't know who you are. But also, you're sending yourself out to being somebody criticizing your image or making fun of your image because they don't like how your image appears to them.
Interesting. Well, I haven't seen those particular posting. You're a boy from Oklahoma, a good good state, probably God country there.
Yes.
So how were you raised? You were raised to honor everyone, weren't you?
I was raised in Yukon, Oklahoma, and I was raised by my grandfather and my grandmother and my mom. My mom ended up having me when she was 18, then she got a divorce. And so my grandfather stepped up in the father figure for that. So I'm really, really blessed on that. And then my mom worked really hard to go to school. She got her degree in accounting. And so we ended up moving from Yukon to Wichita for a little bit, Kansas. And then we came back and we lived in Edmond. And then my mom remarried, met a great guy. His name's Keith Faulkner. That's why I have Faulkner. Great name.
He adopted you.
He adopted me. I'm very lucky. I'm very honored to represent his last name. But he raised me and everything. And then I fell in love with playing ice hockey. I loved playing goalie. And then I played golf in high school. And then I went to college and I met some amazing people. And I've just been blessed. I've been very blessed because I've had these people influence me in my life. So everybody I've had that.
That's great. But, sitting here, I have the feeling you don't take gruff from anybody. Even though you're born from Oklahoma, raised there, you're really a New Yorker because you stand up for yourself.
I feel you have to be that way just because you don't want to be hurt. Because the thing is with New York, it's hard to open yourself up because if you open yourself up, you're worried about somebody hurting you or taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
So I've learned that living on my own with my wife in New York, such as in Oklahoma, it's way, way different. Way, way different. Okay, I love New York. But the thing is, right, let me tell you the reason why I love New York. The thing is in New York, you always have to push yourself. So like you cannot sit back or take that lay back mentality because you'll never grow. This city makes you grow as a person and as an individual. So it's really awesome.
Oh, cool. One of the things I noticed, you did lots of road races with road runners, but you also do these urban runs that really look really badass, like the Orchard Street Runners.
Yes.
Would they have this midnight run? Tell us about that run.
So there's way different things. Like, for example, New York offers so much more. Such as Oklahoma, we don't have alley cat runs. We don't have crew runs. We only have the traditional run club. We pay $15 for a 5K. You go run a 5K, or you pay, $50 to do a half marathon. So you come to New York, running is such a big thing here. The cool thing is it's quick. Also, the cool thing is You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be a runner to run in New York. So that's the great thing about New York. New York just offers so much opportunity. So like with OSR, my friend Joe, he puts on these alley cat races that are just amazing and it's so much fun. And then he gets these photographers that we were talking about. They'll come out and take these awesome photos and everything. And it's just amazing experience about experiencing the city. This is after dark, but also the thing is that he warns you when you're running to say, run at your own risk. But the thing is like with these races, they usually give out top 3 for prize money and then they give a premium. And so I usually just go out and run hard and make sure that I'm with the bicyclist. If you're with the biker, usually people will see you. But if you're by yourself, you have to be very, very cautious. But it's the intensity. It's an experience. It's not like an everyday road race where the street's closed or you run with somebody on a pace or you get a clock or you get a time. It's all about you going around that turn. Is there somebody going to be walking right there? Is there going to be a dog? Is there going to be something that you don't know? Is there a concert? You never know with an urban race because every day you see something new in New York. So there's nothing the same every day in New York. You always see something different, same as running.
Yeah.
So if you're running through the urban, you may see something that you never know, or you may run by somebody you know, or you don't know.
You probably run into a few rats on the ground, you know. Okay, you got to jump over them.
The rats are not the ones you have to watch out for. It's the raccoons you got to watch out for.
Oh,
those
really?
those guys will stand up. Rats will run from you, but raccoons in Central Park, they own the park at night. They own the park.
Oh my gosh, the joys of running after dark. But the OSR run, that's in
It's in Lower East Side. It's
Lower East
East Side. So they have different races. So for example, they just had the 10K this weekend where they ran from East Side over the Williamsburg Bridge and then back over the Manhattan Bridge and finished in Chinatown.
Those races are definitely, off the radar and they're very special.
They're off the radar, but also they're exclusive and they're at night. But if you have the opportunity to partake, you'll definitely enjoy it.
And I see you run shirtless, so it must be very, very cool and warm that night that you're able to do that.
That's just the running mentality. A runner is like supposed to be different. So I like wearing the 2-inch shorts. I like wearing no shirt. I know I'm skinny, but I just love the sport, and it's just that mentality.
Yeah, again, and many of the photos are black and white, so they really take advantage of the street lights.
Yeah, the
so
lighting.
You can see the light shining on you. You can see the.
So you're doing one next year. It sounds like you're doing the next.
Urban races are beyond my pay scale.
Okay.
I'll look forward to running in a safe place like the Lower Loop at Central Park. But I do love. Because the photographs are artistic, you can see that these isn't just a one-off, that these were, planned.
Yeah.
And, they had a tripod because it's just beautifully captured. And so, again, we were back
to photography.
It's so important to document those things.
Correct.
Gary Corbett, the son of Ted Corbett.
Yeah.
And he's trying to preserve the early history because there wasn't that much photography back in those days.
It was all about numbers and times.
Yes, and your time, you got all this documentation, every photo.
Yeah, but let's see what the next generation has.
Okay, what's your next challenge?
Next challenge is to qualify for the Olympic trials. So that's my goal. Another thing is I'm totally taking back from doing a lot of races. Now I'm just focusing on that one task. So I have John Hinwood just training me, and I'm not worried about any races. He's helping me get in shape. And when he says I'm ready to rock, I'm ready to rock.
Okay, we should also mention, you mentioned John Hinwood, but he also coaches somebody else very famous, Mary Kane.
Yeah.
So you get that opportunity to do some runs with her?
I'm more marathon training. So right now,
she's a speedster, I guess.
She's a speedster, so I may slow her down. So I would say maybe in the future, she can definitely help me on my weight workout because I'm definitely working on my weights. But, it's great to be able to have these resources.
Oh, cool. So what is the qualifying time for the Olympic trials?
For the U.S. Olympic standard to get in the trials is 2:18:59. And then if you end up coming out top 3, the Olympic standard is 2:18, but there'll be somebody will run 2:09. But the best thing is to try to get citizenship somewhere else. And if they don't have somebody that has that Olympic standard, if you have that 2:18 and they don't, if the company, I mean, if the country wants to support you, they will support you.
Okay, but it sounds like you plan to be representing Oklahoma or New York.
Yeah, I want to be at the party. I want to be at the party.
And Henwood did a 215 in New York, so you got a guy.
I mean, him and Jeff Elgelston and Tom Fleming are the fastest New York Athletic Club guys. Oh, and Meb, sorry, Meb.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's a member of the New York
Meb
Athletic Club.
is. Yep.
This year, he got into the New York Athletic Club Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yeah, well deserved.
So maybe 20 years down the road, when you're 42, like Meb, you might make it in.
I would love that. That would be great.
Well, listen, on that note.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.